Hello, everybody. Welcome once again to Counselor's Couch 101. I want to appreciate all the emails that I've been getting lately and the comments below. Those things help me to keep focused on what you guys are interested in, what can be helpful, and what works on this internet media platform. So, the other day I had what I thought was an interesting issue come up. This gentleman asked me, how do you apologize on social media? Now, what he meant by that was that, I don't know, some sort of a difference of opinion came up and people had ghosted him. They had just simply blocked him from all their media. And he was thinking to himself, how do I get past that? How do I tell them I'm sorry, right? How do I repair the relationship? Now, a lot of you are probably thinking, hey, forget them. If they ghosted you, you don't need them in your life and like that. And oftentimes I would think that way too. But it's an interesting situation, nevertheless, something worthwhile to look into. So, how do you get that attention back? First of all, there are occasions when it is worthwhile to have particular relationships, right? Relationships that you wanted. What's the first problem in that kind of a situation? People were not understanding one another, right? The guy was not trying to offend anybody, right? They were just communicating back and forth. And I always say that the basis of communication is people, at least two people, wanting to understand one another, right? So sometimes if we say something or type something or however we communicate it, and it comes off in a way that someone finds offensive, I would hope that the other person will say, hey, can we clarify this? I'm not quite getting it. It sounds in a way to me that, it sounds offensive to me. Can we look at it and talk about it? And then you clear it up. And oftentimes it can be cleared up that easily if you want to clear it up and if you want to keep the relationship, right? You want to keep the communication open. If you don't, well, then you slam the door and you walk away. This guy had reason. I mean, the friends we make on the internet like that, it's not like the people that he lost were people that he saw every day in his real life, right? They were just internet friends. But occasionally that can be of value to people. And like I say, they want to keep those relationships, right? So I'm thinking over this problem. And I remembered a situation that I was involved in years and years and years ago. What happened was I was working in an agency, kind of a small agency. I think there's, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 people all together working in this place. And a lot of folks worked outside of the building. We were going into the community, doing programs and doing counseling, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But inside the building, I had a small office, and there was an office manager, and there was like an accountant who kept track of all the bills, paid all the bills, and paid out the paychecks, and kept the books and did the taxes and all that kind of stuff. Those two were the workers, plus the CEO. Everybody else was doing counseling of one sort or another. So I was holding a meeting in my little tiny office, and we had the door open because the office was so small, it got hot and stuffy really quickly. So we kept the door open to get some air to go through. And I was having a little staff meeting with the group that mostly was doing work outside of the building. And this one gentleman whom I had not seen in a staff meeting in person before had come for the first time. And he was new to the situation, not new to the work, but new to the building and the people in the building. So a bunch of us guys sitting in this little room, the doors open, and down the hallway a little bit from us was a copy machine. Everybody all came up to this big, huge Canon copier. Everybody was using it. And the accountant stepped over to the copier machine when we're in this office having this meeting. The accountant is a very beautiful woman, right? Adult female, very attractive. Everybody said it. All the guys that just couldn't stop looking at her. It was just one of those things that happened, right? So this new guy who hadn't been in the building before, hadn't seen the personnel, didn't know the players, etc. He said when that accountant stepped up to the copy machine, he said in kind of a low voice, "Look at that," right? And it was enough for her to hear. He didn't shout it out or anything. He just kind of said it sotto voce, right? But it was enough for her to hear. And I turned around and looked to see what he was looking at. And I said, yeah, just like that, because I was appreciating how attractive she was as well. Well, she heard that, right? And from that point on, I was persona non grata. She wouldn't have anything to do with me, right? One word, I said the word yeah, was enough for her to be offended and want to cut me out of her existence if she could. So what happened was we'd walk by the office. I didn't have a lot of reason to talk to her about much of anything. I would turn in all my documents and this, that, and the other thing, and then she would do what she would do with what she had to do with the accounting of all that stuff. But that did not necessitate much conversation between the two of us. But still, we would pass each other in the hallway, going around the building, this and that. And every once in a blue moon, there was something that I had to say to her. She needed to communicate to me. Well, she would send me an email, right? She's just in the next office over here. I mean, we're talking a couple of yards away. She'd send me an email. She wouldn't talk to me. And when I saw her in the hallway and like that, she wouldn't look at me. She'd pass as though I didn't exist. I knew she was upset with me. I didn't want that. I didn't want that kind of a situation going in the office. It's not good for, the crew, and it's not good for office relations or office, the feeling around the office or anything else. I wanted to fix that. I thought to myself, okay, I can't talk to her because she's not responding to my vocal communication. What can I do, right? How can I fix this, right? So I decided, okay, I'm going to be the perfect gentleman in all ways, no matter what happens. So if she snubs me, I'm going to let it go. If she says something that's kind of shows her irritation, I'm not going to rise to the bait. I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to be the perfect gentleman. I did that. I am not exaggerating. I did it for 1.5 years. 1.5 years, I was the perfect gentleman. Finally, one day, I was in my office, doors open. I'm working on the computer like most of us do. And someone just tapped on the door, real quietly. Like I turned around, it was her. And she was standing in the doorway, and she kind of smiled, and she started talking to me about something to do with business, But her attitude was entirely different. It was like she finally got over being mad at me, and it was very clear. And from that point on, we could be, like office friends. There wasn't a personal relationship between us, but we could be cordial, and we can joke and say hi, etc. around the office. Took 1.5 years. Why do I bring that up? Because in the social media, what's the equivalent of 1.5 years? How do we be a perfect gentleman on social media for the amount of time that it requires for someone to get over being angry at us or annoyed with us or irritated? How do we fix it? And I was thinking that over, and I don't know that I have a good answer to that question, so I bring it to you here in this podcast. How the heck can you apologize in social media? When people ghost you, they block you, they won't allow your comments, they won't let you participate in their online groups, etc., etc. If any of you out there have any suggestions whatsoever, how do you fix relationships on social media when someone was offended? Now remember, I'm assuming a couple of things. If these people are not wanting to be friendly and not wanting you in their circle, well, pretty much we have to walk away, right? I'm assuming that it was a good group, that you liked the people in the group, and before the conflict, they seemed to like you as well. I'm not talking about problematic or toxic relationships or any kind of negativity at all. What once was a good relationship got damaged. How do we fix that? That's my question for all y'all. And I'm really looking forward to some suggestions because I didn't know what to tell the guy. I knew what to say if it had been in person. I would say be a gentleman, step up, apologize, and show your sincerity. How do you show sincerity on social media? By the way, before I end this podcast, that just reminded me of something else. Oftentimes, the words, the most of the content of a vocal communication is in the way something is spoken, right? It's whether or not it was loud, soft, fast, angry, happy, joyful, loving, whatever. It's in the emotion that's conveyed by the feeling in the voice for the words that you use. In social media, I'm particularly thinking of typing because everybody's texting and doing all these different messaging services. They're just typing out words, right? And what happens is words can be interpreted differently than what was intended because we can't hear the voice, right? We can't hear the emotional content of the voice that delivered the message. Oftentimes, that is what leads to miscommunication. I can't hear the tone of your voice, right? I'm taking your words to mean something in my head that you did not mean in yours, right? So if someone will question that and you're able to clarify it, you can fix those kinds of issues. But if we're not allowed an opportunity to clarify, then those issues stay and they could remain forever. Like I said, took a year and a half, one word, right? Maybe I should use that for the title, one word. But one word could be misinterpreted or can provide offense, and it could take a long time to fix it. How do we fix communication in social media when they can't hear the emotion in our voice, right? I'm really open to your suggestions. Please write back. Put your comments below. I'm really interested in what you have to say. And send me some emails if you have ideas about this subject or anything else that might be interesting to bring up here. The email address, of course, is counselorscouch101@mail.com. Mail.com. Not any other type of mail, just mail.com. All right, folks? I really appreciate you stopping by, and I look forward to talking with you next time. Have a blessed day.